Hello and welcome back. My name is India and I happen to read a lot, and today we're going to be talking about July. I didn't post that much recently in June just because I was trying to find my feet. I've spent the last kind of 6 months posting religiously Monday and Thursday vlogs and bookish stuff, and then I got a bit burnt out because I kind of planned up to 6 months and then suddenly was like, what do I do? So I took a breather, I took a step back. I think I'm going to post a little bit more sporadically than scheduled, just while I think of inspiration for bookish things. But this video is very easy because we're just going to talk about the books that I want to read in July, which is a very easy and fun video. I love the potential that TBRs give. Wrap-ups are the reality, TBRs are the potential and the exciting possibilities that the month has in store. June was very exciting because June was the first time, please check out that video, June was the first time that I used a wheel generator. Let me show you. I have this wheel generator that picks out books for me. So I picked out 2 books, which I'll discuss in my wrap up. One was a DNF and one was a 5 out of 5 stars. So my goal is to do that again. I have my set books, which I'm excited to go through with you, but I also want the random wheel generator to pick 2 books from my backlist, just because it's fun and it gets me picking up books that I've been putting on the back burner for ages. So I'm excited to get into it. So let's just do it. There's not much else to say. Halfway through the year now, the July TBR. So to start off, it's time we focus on my 2 new releases for the month. For those of you who don't know and are new to the way that I do TBRs, I mean, there's not specifically a different way I do a TBR compared to someone else. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm more interesting than I actually am. But for those of you who don't know how I go about new releases, a couple of years ago, as a way to stop myself getting overwhelmed with all the books that come out in one month, just set myself up to read the books the month before they come out. It weirdly feels less pressure on me if I go, oh, well, this one's not out until next month. That's how I feel. So for July, we are reading books that are coming out in August. I made a comment to Harry a couple of weeks ago where I was like, there aren't that many books coming out in August that I know of. And then in like 1 week, all the very important August proofs were dropping and I was able to get my hands on a couple of them. So I ate my words. But these books are books that I plan on reading in July for August. So starting off first is, and you can't really tell because it's one of those proof covers where like it doesn't actually have do they have the actual cover on the inside? Hold on. No? Okay. Well, this one is called Where the Axe is Buried. This is by Nayler. Now, ages ago, 2 years ago, I read Where the Mountain Meets the Sea by Nayler, which was an amazing amalgamation of so many different sci-fi elements, climate crisis elements. There was discussions on AI, serial killer octopuses, just technology in general, overfishing. It was very hard to explain the book to someone and also explain to them that there were so many different elements in this book, but they were written and weaved together so perfectly. I've not read another Nayler book since then. So Where the Axe is Buried is a technological thriller set in 2 different countries. I don't think that's specifically named. I think it's that point in time where our version of geography and the political names of countries and who they are has changed. But in one country, known as the Federation, there is a president who has kept himself immortal and in power because he transfers his consciousness and his memories to a different body. So they're trying to assassinate him, get rid of him, and bring a new president to the Federation. And then in Western Europe, they all just have AI prime ministers, which seem to be going wrong. So it's very much AI, robots, clones. It follows a scientist who might be the only woman whose invention that she's created is the only person to possibly bring down these incredibly powerful robot AI-esque leaders. So it's going to be very on the nose, very within the moment, which is what I really, really like about Nayler. Sci-fi inherently has to critique the society that we're in. I think to write the best sci-fi you can write, you have to critique society. Sci-fi in itself was created to critique the way that humans think, the way that humans run. So I think having conversations about presidents who want to stay in power as long as they can and abuse that power, and the way that AI is taking over humanity. I see what you're doing, Ray. I see what you're doing. Then, and this was a shock to me, not just everybody else, I have Katabasis. Katabasis, I think it's Katabasis? I have to Google that. But I have Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. I went on this in a vlog, I think it was, where I discussed my apprehensions for this. So Katabasis follows 2 academic scholars from Oxford whose professor dies and gets sent to hell, and they're like, shit, we kind of need you to approve a bunch of stuff we're trying to get through academically. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop down to hell, bring you back up with us. And I believe the scholars fall in love on the journey. That's my kind of, I think that's what I heard when it was first coming out. Scholars fall in love trying to bring back their old professor from hell. For those of you who have not seen my vlog though, I have slight apprehensiveness for this because while I love the Poppy War and I loved Yellowface, Babel, I struggled to get into it and I DNF'd it about 50% of the way through. While on paper it is everything that I love in a book, I found the writing style to be incredibly dense and very slow paced, which meant that while there were elements of the story that I really enjoyed, I did feel like I was wading through a little bit of a swamp pacing and writing style wise. I love an info dump, but I think I learned on that day that maybe there is a limit to how much of an info dump I love. So I am a bit nervous going into Katabasis. I am excited because I love a journey storyline. If I love storylines that literally like, we have to get from point A to point B and deal with all the shit that happens in the middle. I do like that there is a romance element to this. I am excited because it's like different circles of hell, like Dante's Inferno, Dante's Circle of Hell. Also look, 359. I feel so special. But I am very excited to read this. I'm holding out hope that Babel was just maybe a fluke for me and that I will love this one. So, yes. Moving on, we then have my fantasy picks, which we are continuing my Goodreads fantasy reading challenge. So that's why I am pulling them off. So first up is one that I didn't get round to reading in June, and that is The Night Ends in Fire by KX Song, which is a reimagining of Mulan. I am very, very excited to read this. Actually, I'm currently reading a book for book group that is next week. And after that, I'm reading The Night Ends in Fire. It's just with all the other reading that I was doing, I just would start it in June, but I would finish it in July. So yeah, The Night Ends in Fire is one of them. And the other book that I plan on reading, which I think, again, I set up the challenge and was like, I'm going to just read from the lowest votes to the highest votes. And then books started coming into my life and I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe I am going to switch this order around. So what should have been When Amongst the Crows by Veronica Roth has now changed. It is now going to be The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. So The Book of Doors came 4th place. 4th place overall on the Goodreads awards. I'm hit or miss with Goodreads users because Goodreads users are notorious for fan favorites. They are notorious for just rating 5 stars to books that haven't come out yet. So when something is a Goodreads winner, I'm always a bit like, we'll see, because most of the Goodreads users do not view the Choice Awards the way that I do, and they will just vote for their favourite author ever, which is something I don't do. But I'm excited. I have actually very briefly met the author. He was going around and doing a proof drop. So one of my colleagues has actually already read this and then gave it to me after they finished it, which is very exciting. It's about a bookseller called Cassie Andrews who gets a magical book that I believe opens her up to other worlds. From what I'm assuming is that this book allows her to go into magical worlds. But either way, it is a magical book and there are more magical books, and I'm guessing somebody wants to take the magical books and use them to destroy the world. That's normally how these books go. I actually only know that there's a magical book and potentially she's going into the worlds of books. I don't know how accurate that is, but that is my assumption and that is what I'm going for. The reason I ended up picking this book over my actually intended one was because I recently received from the publisher the author's second book that they brought out. I don't know whether it's a sequel, I think it's a standalone. And that comes out in August. So I wanted to read this so I can get an understanding of the author, and then next month I'll read his newest book. So yes, this is why I brought this one forward. And it makes the challenge more fun when you're not set by specific rules, and it's always what happens. I give myself specific rules and then I break them. I don't actually have anything yet for non-fiction. There are potentially things in the pipeline for non-fiction, so I don't have a non-fiction pick at the beginning of this month. We'll see what happens. But I do have a pick for the crime book of this month. And again, it's one of those proof things, so you don't have a proper cover. This is a proof that I should have read summer of last year and I didn't, so apologies to the publisher. But this is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. which has blown up everywhere. Like, I had heard amazing things, and then suddenly there was like a shift online where everybody was just talking about how amazing this crime book was. I believe it's written by an Australian author. And I've just looked, and this won the mystery and thriller category of the Goodreads Awards for last year as well. So I believe she's Australian. I want to say that. Nope, she's American. I lied to you. I thought she was Australian. She's not. So The God in the Woods follows a family who 15 years ago lost their son in mysterious woods, and people spent 5 days searching for this little boy who had gone missing. And there were a lot of rumours surrounding the family, how they acted. You know what happens when something really disastrous happens and people lose family members or children. People then start to question the parents' actions and the family's actions, going, well, it took them this long to call the police. All of those kinds of stuff. So this family has been plagued by rumours of what happened to the disappearance of the youngest son. 15 years later, their daughter has now gone missing in the same woods, and people are on the search for her, and it's bringing up the past disappearance compared to now. Are these two connected? The God in the Woods makes me think there could be a supernatural horror element to it. I don't know how true that is, but this is one chunky book. This is probably this is over 500 pages. This is a chunky book. But yes, I'm excited to read this, The God of the Woods. I've been meaning to read this for some time. I don't read many... I think I'm about to say something that's completely contradictory to what I normally read, but I don't read many modern thrillers. I think I tend to read classic crime, and if I do read something modern, there is like a very specific twist, or it's cozy modern crime. It's either classic crime or cozy modern. So I don't really read many just thrillers that much. I think I did read Cara Hunter's book, but that was because it was epistolary. I don't read many thrillers like this, so I'm excited to get into it. I'm reading Drifting Dragons Volume 3, which just follows some dragon hunters and their lives on their dragon hunting boat and all the miraculous things that they see. I'm currently basically just going through my manga cupboard, and every time I'm like, oh, time to read another manga volume, I just go alphabetically. Because I think I just get a little bit overwhelmed by like, oh my god, there's so much choice. Do I go back and read a new one? Do I read an old favourite? What do I do? So that's what I'm currently doing. So Drifting Dragons is next for the month. And now it is time. And now it's time to get the very exciting TBR wheel out. Oh, let's get rid of the ad. No one's giving free ads on my channel. So yes. Last month, I had a 5-star read and a DNF. Let's see, we are going for 2 this month. Here we go. My god, it's taking so long. A Marvelous Light. My friend Morgan is going to be very, very happy with this one, because my friend Morgan has been banging on about A Marvelous Light for ages. From what I know about A Marvelous Light, it is a alternate history fantasy murder mystery, which is everything that I love in books. I love alternate history, I love murder mysteries, and I love fantasy. I know it's gay because Morgan always tells me that, but it's a alternate history, murder mystery, fantasy with romance. That sounds very, very good. I think it's set in Victorian times. So A Marvelous Light is a great shout. I think I have that on my Kindle. I don't think I actually physically own that one. And we'll move on to the second one. It's a shame that there's no sound. I thought I put sound on this. I feel disappointed that there's no sound. And the next one is... You know when you look at something and you go, what the fuck is this? How bad is this that I've gotten to that point in my TBR collection that I read a book and I don't know what it is? Oh, yes. I do know this one. Where did I put that? I do know this one. It's a gothic fantasy murder mystery. It's very similar to kind of House of Roots and Ruin, which I read last month, which I really enjoyed. And also kind of the Picture of Dorian Gray-esque vibes. About a woman. She can paint portraits that alter people's real life bodies. So it's a little bit Picture of Dorian Gray-esque in a way. She gets dragged to a manor to try and paint a portrait to resurrect a dead son. Oh, it's very gothic. So there we go, that's really good. It's very much giving me House of Roots and Ruin vibes, which was what was chosen last month. So because of that, I'm I'm very happy. I think that's going to be a good month. Both of those are quite like 350 pages as well, which is always good when you know you've got two 500-page books. But there we go! Oh my god, how exciting! I am very much looking forward to this month. It seems a very good balance of different things. So yeah, if you want to stay tuned to how I'm doing, please like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. I attempt to post vlogs every Monday and bookish videos every Thursday. Yeah! Thank you.